Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Charmed Hard with a Vengeance. Tonight, we got back from the 300th break of the season, and we watched Season 1, Episode 18, The Replacement. Phelan, how does it feel to be in Season 10 of Charmed?
It's been a wild ride, man.
This episode was wild.
Guess who's back from Jumanji?
Jumanji! So in this episode, the girls get a replacement Whitelighter. Galvin comes back from Jumanji.
Yeah.
There's demon shenanigans afoot.
He was a replacement, too. Screw you, replacement, Galvin.
Phelan, before we get into the episode proper, I gotta tell you a story, okay? It's not much of a story, but I'm gonna tell you anyway.
Don't want this.
I didn't even tell you this story till now. I was saving it.
Oh.
I was talking to my dad on the phone. And he's like, I ever tell you about how when I was in high school, the root beer story? And he told me afterwards, the reason I'm bringing this up is because he said, feel free to use it for one of your podcasts. So I'm going to use it in a podcast because it relates to nothing.
Okay.
My dad just said to bring it up because he figured my listeners would be interested. Okay, here's the entirety of the story. He's like, this root beer is so good, I could drink gallons of it. And his friend like, no, you can't, but I could. And he's like, I'll bet you money you can't. So his friend trained up to drink all of this root beer. And he couldn't. Even all of his training, he couldn't drink that much root beer.
Uh-huh.
The sound of the sirens or the podcast police. They're pulling the plug for such a pointless story.
Yeah, here they come.
I'm sorry.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, the moral of the story is no one can drink that much liquid. You can't drink a gallon or however much. I don't remember the exact amount of root beer.
Or you can't even drink a Galvin of root beer.
Oh, bringing it full circle. Yeah, so they started this episode with we have the teaser of Galvin and Jumanji, so we did get to see a little bit of like Indiana Jones Galvin.
Yeah, and he's there getting a gallon of root beer and just chugging it.
And then they're like, you can't drink that much root beer, Galvin. Oh, I bet I can. And he trained up for it, but he couldn't.
And that's how he let the demon in.
I just want to say, I don't think my dad will ever listen to this, but if he does, I like the story. I don't want to drag him like this.
You're the worst.
I bet he could drink a Galvin of root beer if he wanted to. What'd you think, Phelan? What'd you think of this episode?
Mixed.
They had some decent story stuff going on, I think. I think like the pacing was pretty good. The ending dragged a little bit, but...
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of it, I guess, is dependent on what's coming next. This felt like a pretty set-up episode, so...
Pretty set up?
Yeah, like it's setting things up down the line.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what the payoff's gonna be, and that will affect my judgment, I guess, of some of the things that happened here.
Do you think Tessa's gonna show up again, the replacement Whitelighter?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why she'd be gone yet.
I just assumed it would be a one-off thing. Like, they're like, you're annoying and you don't get it, and then gone, because it just didn't seem like a continuing thing.
Seems like it's a continuing thing. There's no reason to think she'd be gone at the end of this episode.
It seems like something, I guess, in old school Charmed that would just be a one-off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's... Storytelling in television's going to change more since then.
They've done one-off things, though, too.
They have, but I mean, it's more likely to drag something out through more episodes these days versus when original Charmed was going. Not that they never did multi-part story arcs, but, it's just more common now.
Sure. I guess the real question is, would you want to see Tessa back?
Oh, no, She's not annoying as she could have been. I mean, they're setting her up, as the white lighter that they don't really want, obviously.
She kind of just seems like replacement Charity, to be honest.
Yeah.
Rather than replacement Harry. It's the same sort of thing where it's like, oh, just stab him, do this, or what. And they're like, no, let's find a good solution here without killing people.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems sort of that, except less interesting to me.
Yeah, she's very shortened by the book, I guess.
She shows up, first thing she does is drag them psychically out of bed or whatever she does. I didn't know white lighters could, like, do that.
Yeah, that is a little weird. It's like, if they have powers like that, how come Harry's never, like, dragging anyone around and stuff?
Yeah, it seems like she had more powers than Harry ever did. And I do like, too, like, she's doing this as a test. Like, she sets their book on fire, and they're, like, trying to, like, fix all this stuff. And they're like, why would you do that the first time we met? And then she's like, well, when Harry first met you, he tied you to chairs.
Yeah,
well,
that was
fair enough.
Funny.
With her, like, vocal fry, it was almost like she's Lucy the White Lighter. Oh my god. Like, you guys are not prepared for anything.
Yeah, a bit.
Betches. I wish Lucy was their White Lighter. It seemed like she was setting up the new direction for season 2 as well. Like, she's like, Harry was just focusing on your, like, on your sisterly bonds. We're not doing that anymore. We're gonna be following the rules and learning spells and doing all this stuff. No more. Like, too, when they bring up Macy's demon side, she's like, yeah, no, we're getting rid of that.
Oh, well, Macy said, no, we're not.
We'll say, betches. The girls are really bad at lying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're pretending to not know that Harry's still alive. They're like, oh, because he's dead ever since he died. It's hard to get over that.
Mm-hmm.
That dead Harry thing.
Yeah, and then they get caught with their little privacy candles, which I guess block anyone from spying on their combos. And replacement comes in and is like, what's with the privacy candle? They're just like, the bad guys could be listening in on this. And like, oh, well, I guess that's a good idea then. Like,
that one I think at least was like a plausible lie, because sure, demons could be listening in on them, I guess.
But if that was a thing, why weren't they using these before this point then?
But, I don't think that's true. That's very true. But I don't think they even said demons. They said humans could be listening in and hear about this stuff.
No, I think they said that they were talking about fighting the source thing or something or whatever.
They really could have used that spell when Nico was listening in, maybe.
Yeah.
The important thing, though, is that Galvin's back. The hero of the show.
Mm-hmm. And he is mild when he first gets back.
Yeah. Macy forgot he was even coming back. She's like, oh shit, on her phone, he's coming in.
Yeah.
He's got cell service now, right? Could you not give him a heads up about any of this?
Uh-huh. She seems so unconcerned with this when he went on a potentially deadly journey to help her. I'm just like,
Yeah, and I do not remember, surprise, I didn't remember something, but I don't remember the exact circumstances of what he was supposed to be doing on that island. I was under the impression it was some sort of trials or something to get to this shaman who could cure Macy. But he's just stealing artifacts like Indiana Jones, and then he brings artifacts back.
Yeah, and then they're going to do some kind of ritual to get rid of it with the artifacts.
Yeah, maybe that had to do with like the shaman ritual or something. I'm unclear on this.
So. I mean...
And he seemed pretty in good shape considering that the danger that his grandma ghost told him about when he had like that spiritual journey with her about how like she lost her finger going there, and like he seemed okay outside of being possessed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he was in worse shape and maybe the demon healed his body.
Maybe the demon kept him from getting in worse shape because it needed the body to get back to the States.
Got a little demon cleansing.
Yeah. Oh, I like Macy's line to him. Nice magical quest stubble. So that's the big twist in this episode, that Galvin is possessed by a demon, which makes him have Bugle Fingers.
Mm-hmm. Well, at first it just makes him like he doesn't care, and she tells him, she drops the, by the way, your whole quest over there where you could have died, I don't want it anymore, so it was for nothing, and he just goes, okay.
All right. Whoa, that is wild. But the sad thing is, we didn't know there was a twist coming because that's totally in his character to be like, all right.
It could have been him first. Then, like, later when the demon goes over to kill, what's her name, Miss Cleo.
Hello, how are you today?
He's like, he becomes a really bad Galvin impersonator. He's like, I'm evil!
Yeah.
Let's go up and do that thing, Macy!
I love the moon, the equinox,
Yeah.
something around. She's like, oh, that sounds really weird, Galvin, okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like something you'd say at all.
Come with me now! You're hurting me! Busted! Ah! I'm
Busted!
gonna stab you!
I do like too when she doesn't know that he's a demon, when she reveals that like she doesn't want to cure her demon side. She also throws in that she found out who her mom's killer is, and it's kind of unclear if that's the first time she's telling him that.
Yeah.
But he seems very uncurious about who it was.
They keep doing that in this show. I was thinking about that when it came up. I'm just like, what? Did he know about that? And no reaction? Did she tell him? We don't know. Like, show, you keep doing these things.
They're treating him like such a Leo. Like, even when, when Tessa's coming back and they realize Galvin shouldn't be in there because they don't want to say that he knows stuff, they just, like, Macy uses her demon psychic powers to, like, shove him out the door.
Yeah, it was totally like that, when they're in the past and Grandma Ghost shoots the charmed ones out the door with that crappy effect. It was like an updated version of that. They shoot Galvin into the closet and he's like, oh!
I hope that was a bad effects homage.
Yeah.
Homage to our favorite badness from OG Charmed.
Yeah. Like you said, when they get him out of the closet after that, he's just kind of like, whoa. Yeah,
Whoa.
that was fine. Like, no reaction really to being shot into the closet.
Yeah, this guy, like, acted more like Galvin by acting like an unrealistic person. Like, it was more in character to act like a person that is absolutely unaffected by everything in his life.
Yeah. I'm just...
Very laissez-faire attitude about things.
It's so weird, too, like, when you know it's a demon, like, you'd think the demon would have a worse reaction to being pushed into a closet like that. Like, maybe it'd think the jig was up and it'd just go after them.
Well, I guess he was keeping character.
Yeah, until he decided to kill Cleo and then just, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, once the audience knew, he's like, I don't know how to pretend anymore.
Yeah.
Who am I fooling?
One of those good, once the audience knows, I'm not going to try. I became a way worse actor after the audience knew.
This shows what a good character Mama Roz is. I am absolutely unaffected by her death. Like, oh well.
Yeah, well, I kept forgetting she was a reoccurring thing anyway.
Nice shoes, though.
I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, I liked her sneakers.
I love you.
But I think the thing that we're most affected by is that Maggie can't pay her tuition.
Mm-hmm. And then she's clicking on the website, and then she clicks that she's Hispanic and black, and then it's like, do you want a black scholarship? And she's like, dun dun dun! And then she decides not to at the end.
I thought that this was a good story, though.
Yeah,
I do think this was a
actually
good story.
Decent.
Because, like, it did present, I think, a realistic question that you would have if you suddenly found out that you were mixed heritage. Mm-hmm. Like, does it feel morally correct to accept a scholarship for a culture that you've never been part of, that you've never presented as? And in the end, she decides that she doesn't feel like that is something that she deserves, a scholarship like that, but she will continue going to a group, the Black Student Union, I think that's what it was.
Mm. Which is amazing considering her character up to this point that she makes that decision.
I did like that she talked to Macy about it, not only because of the half-demon stuff, which is a part of the parallel, but because Macy is mixed heritage, like, regardless of the demon thing. Like, she has always dealt with being of two races in her life and presenting as black, so it was... I thought that was a good bit of character work, both of them talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it was a better part of the episode. It was like, it's one of the better storylines, too, about just, personal stuff with them and actually having the sisters relating to each other.
Yeah, and that was also a way of talking about cultural stuff without beating it over the head and seeming shoehorned in. Like, this seemed naturally woven into the story. It was something that was happening with them alongside what was going on.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to Parker signing in on the website, and he's clicking white privilege and stale beer. He's like, I don't know if I should accept the stale beer scholarship, but I've never presented as stale beer before.
He clicked on it, and then immediately Harvard sent him a letter of acceptance. Whoa, it pays to be white with that.
Pays to be stale beer.
Honest to God, until you mentioned him, I completely forgot his existence and that he wasn't in this episode at all.
Yeah, they do a good job of forgetting people's existence when they're not in an episode.
I honestly, it was better without him. It was better without him.
Well, the new Parker's been alright.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the whole demon thing
definitely.
Going on
It's still
him,
a thing we have to wait and see on.
Maggie's powers are expanding because she can hear people's souls now.
She can talk to dead people.
Oh my god. Dead soul, I know that you just got murdered, but I was just curious, should I accept the scholarship or not?
Yeah.
What? I'm dying, child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been her character in, earlier episodes. Because, she would constantly just, bring up her personal stuff as a reason to screw off from the main plot line and not be involved. So, yeah, it is nice that she's developed as being less selfish at this point. I mean, it kind of is just a switch out of nowhere. It would have been nicer if it had been a thing that was addressed, I guess, and developed past. I thought it was funny when she is talking to dead Mama Roz on the ground. Mama Roz like, oh yeah, that's this demon and stuff. Da, da, da. The first word should have been, it's in Galvin. But she doesn't.
She's got to pay extra to extend the phone call.
Can I get your first name and your birth date, please?
But that should be the first thing. It's Maggie somehow reaches out to Galvin's soul in the ether, which is floating around, bodiless, I guess. And that's how she finds out it's in Galvin. Stupid Mama Roz.
She deserved to die.
Apparently she was already expecting Galvin, too, by the time he came in, so why isn't she, calling them, oh, yeah, I think it's in Galvin. She's just sitting around, oh, I'm just playing with my tarot cards. Oh, look at this new shuffle. I'm second dealing.
Look, she's got to make a living. She ain't being paid for this stuff.
Do my new card tricks, Galvin. Oh, I'm evil. Oh!
I don't mean to sidetrack your question here, but who are all of these nosy people, outside influences I'm seeing around you by the moon card?
I find Maggie's powers are very random, jumbled, and whatever's convenient. I don't think this falls into the empath thing. It's just, it's kind of whatever. It's a jumble of a lot of different, disparate things.
Yeah, she captured what's her name, Tessa, at one point and shoved her away.
That was a spell that she learned. I don't think that was
a spell.
It's because she was having them memorize spells, so I think that's just something she learned to do.
I mean, Tessa's kind of right then.
It was helpful that they haven't really been learning a lot of different kinds of spells.
Harry should have been a little more strict on that, it seems.
I have to make breakfast. I can't do everything around here.
Learn some spells, idiots. Do we have to?
Yeah, it would be very helpful. It would be helpful if they didn't just learn last minute what spell they need to get rid of the demon of the week and just learn some general defensive spells.
Definitely.
Tessa, though, seems like very unwilling to help with a lot of stuff, considering Whitelighters are supposed to be protecting them.
Mm-hmm.
She does do some stuff, but she just sort of seems put out about a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And like, you guys should already know this. Don't go there. Thought it was funny, too. Like, she captures her in that spell and, like, shoves her aside because she's all team, let's kill Galvin to get rid of the demon instead of trying to save him. And then, like, when they talk to her after that, she's like, oh, yeah, it's fine.
I'll just get rid of this dead body. You're welcome.
No, it's grand. I thought she'd be a little more annoyed about that, but nah, it was cool, I guess.
Maybe it's the early Giles on Buffy kind of thing, you know, like, kind of uptight, this is unorthodox, but maybe sometimes it works. You gotta loosen them up a little bit, you know?
Sure.
Or maybe, you know, the episode's wrapping up, so we don't
have time for this right now.
I like the sequence where Macy runs away from the demon. First of all, the demon's coming after her because it's looking for the threshold between life and death. It preys on dead children, and she was a stillborn, so it wants her.
Yeah.
And she runs off into the Spotlight Woods from the X-Files.
Yeah, they see Mulder and Scully kind of wandering around. They're like, hey, just wanted to apologize about that last season of the X-Files, and that kind of went off the rails. Please don't remember us for that one. Remember us for all the good original stuff, but you can forget that one. The first revival season was all right, but you know that last one, you don't need to remember that.
Remember cigarette smoking, man? He doesn't need magic powers to come back from the dead. He had that same demon come after him, wants to figure out how he keeps surviving. I like how demon Galvin scurries through the woods. Scurries after her like a ghoul.
He's so not stealthy. There's like...
just...
Yeah. There's one part where he's coming after Macy hiding behind a tree, and she makes a sound happen away from her, so he thinks she's somewhere else. And then it's just... over in that direction.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's like a big dumb dog or something. Yeah,
just like, when she was over there, she'd hear you coming, dummy.
I like when he starts sounding like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I'm your boyfriend now, Macy.
Yeah, tongue comes through the car she's hiding in.
Macy decides, in order to get the demon out of him, she's going to use her demon side to stop his heart because it can't live in a dead host, even though it preys on dead children. I don't know how this works, really.
It has to be dead children that aren't dead anymore.
Yeah, this seems like a very specific circumstance. I don't know how many of those it was finding in the jungle out there. It just seems like this demon's meant to not exist.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it just has a nice home and dead children which have been revived. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. And like Tessa's not really up for this whole like use your demon powers to kill someone and revive them thing. And Macy says, I'm the charmed one, I will decide.
Yeah.
That's a very Piper line, I think.
Yeah. I did like too her like when she goes dark side, it's like the dark side of the force. She's got her hand out squeezing it as his heart's getting crushed, I guess, stopping it.
Turning into a real Wyatt.
Yeah. Let's start a Wyatt. That was such a dumb joke. Yeah.
I know.
Cool.
Yeah, but can Wyatt drink a Galvin of root beer? No. They go to the attic because that's where Macy was brought back to life, and that's where the demon thinks the threshold between life and death is, and they've created this protection barrier around the house that's with some sort of magic that Tessa doesn't know, but she's got this special knife that she slashes through the barrier, and folds it apart, and into the giant vagina they go. And they proceed to kill the demon and turn him into Leo chunklets.
Yeah. It was all pretty easy, it seemed like.
Do you think Galvin's leaving the show for good, though? They had a scene after where Galvin's pretty traumatized about this. He pulls a Daryl. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah, real Galvin wasn't quite as cool with finding out his journey into Jumanji was pointless.
Yeah, more realistic, I think.
Yeah, and I was glad, kind of, because, I mean, I think he should be kind of annoyed by that.
Well, it's not only that, it's not only because he did all this stuff for nothing, but the fact that she wants to keep the demon inside her, and he just experienced being taken over by an evil force that you can't control and made him kill people.
Yeah.
And I think he sees her being corrupted by the same kind of thing and not being able to save her from that.
Yeah, definitely. He has points about it. I mean, this is one of the things, too, where it's like, this will change my thinking of this episode, I guess, depending on what happens, is if Galvin is just being written off. I
really hope not.
Yeah, because that'd be lame. Like, that's just stupid going that route. I mean, if he has more to do in the story and stuff, and, they have some interesting dialogue regarding her demon side, it could be good. It just will depend.
I kind of wonder if this has to do with Sir Darius Blaine. Who plays Galvin, because he was written off because he was in the Jumanji sequel. And I don't know if maybe he's pursuing other film stuff and maybe he just doesn't have time to commit to a series. I don't know. I hope not, though. I like the stuff with Galvin and Macy now. They did a real turnaround, and I hope this isn't the end.
Yeah. It's like, don't leave the show now that they made your character good.
Yeah, then who are we going to be stuck with? Parker?
Yeah, we'll get some, Parker wannabe for Macy, and just be like, she'll get a demon boyfriend or something. Just like,
we don't need more half-demons. We have plenty of half-demon stories going on. Yo, that is wild. It'll be a different guy that's Galvin, like a Galvin replacement clone. That's the same sort of thing.
It'll be Unicorn.
One thing that I hope is actually a story that they have wiped off the face of the earth is all the Sarkana being murdered.
Yeah.
That seems like a quick sweep away of that story. Like, we're not doing this anymore.
Getting rid of them. It's like, that's fine. We barely saw any of them besides Jada alive anyway. Not very often.
They didn't really do enough with that story to make anyone interested. They could have done something, but it was just sort of annoying to me.
Yeah, the way it usually came up was just an annoying intrusion into whatever else was going on. Just like, I don't care about the stupid Sarkana.
I was really sad that Jada survived.
Yeah. Maybe she'll come back to help and die, though.
If they give her a story that is not to do with the Sarkana, because, first of all, any sort of storyline that involves, a gang or a cult or whatever, and they're like, this is our loyalties, and then they make a character just about that. For instance, Riverdale. Once they had Jughead join the Serpents, that's just all he ever talks about. Constantly. It's just constantly about the Serpents. And it's
just became his whole identity.
Yeah. And it's kind of like that with Jada. And there's moments vaguely where it could be something, where, for instance, when she's talking about her relationship with her parents that they never follow through with. It's all just about Sarkana business. And I feel if they took her away from that and tried to do something else, they could shift the character around.
Maybe. If she is just going to be kind of off the show, I'm guessing she might return, though, when they're fighting Fiona and die tragically trying to help.
I don't know if they're writing her off. I think they're writing out the Sarkana, though, because they're all dead now.
Yeah,
I think they were like, this story's not a thing anymore.
She might not be. But, I mean, that'd just be, if you are getting rid of her, that's probably I'd do it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're going to fight the source of all evil, or whatever they decide to do a finale, you want to have some characters that we've seen to be expendable to make it more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that Mel told Nico about being a witch.
No, she didn't get pulled into Whitelighter Court for doing that. Even though that other episode where they wanted that to happen, it just immediately happened when she started doing magic in front of people.
Oh, yeah. Inconsistent Whitelighter Court.
Mm-hmm.
Would that go to Small Claims Whitelighter Court, or do you think like it?
Oh, the other time it went straight to the elders, so I don't know.
The scene with that led into the scene with the Sarkana being dead, and that's because Fiona went crazy, and it's part of the prophecy to raise the source, is what they think. And Harry left a clue behind, which Maggie describes as a bougie British breadcrumb.
Feeling
terrible.
Like the whole Sarkana's death being off screen is just because they don't have Fiona or Harry in this episode.
I think maybe it was just supposed to be a shocking reveal, and also we don't know any of the characters in the Sarkana outside of Jada, so I don't think it's that impactful to see them fighting and dying.
Well, no, I don't know if it's like it. I feel like if you don't show it and then they're suddenly dead, that's more impactful if you did care somewhat, maybe, about some of these people. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, in the original Charmed, when they had the Titans, I think it was, come and kill a bunch of the elders. Was it the Titans? I don't know. I just remember there was one where they, like, went up to Whitelighter Land and there's just, like, a bunch of dead elders there.
Mm-hmm.
But they never showed that on screen.
Yeah.
So we didn't get that. Just a bunch of dead theater actors in shitty robes lying on the floor.
Yeah. And it might have been nice to have seen at least, like, a little bit of that, like, or the build-up even. But, I mean... it was good that they're gone. It's just kind of, you don't feel anything about their deaths, though, other than relief.
Yeah, I can say that I was very excited that this happened, because that means that less bullshit to deal with the Sarkana.
Mm-hmm.
So the last thing I have left in my notes is the fashion segment. Macy was wearing a white sweater with rainbow stripes that looked very 70s. I like that sweater. Nico's fiance had a, like, Saturday Night Fever suit on or something at the bachelorette party.
Yeah, either that or she's gonna be in Scarface or something.
That was a very slick gay fashion, I think. And then Maggie had a lot of, I think, classics in this one. I think these are ones that'll stand the test of time. She had a red polka dot dress with shoulder pads that was very 80s looking, and had a matching fanny pack on the belt.
Yeah.
A black and white jumpsuit, a tie-dye hoodie with pink sweats, and then a biker jacket with pastel pink a ruffle lace turtleneck, which was under a black corset and had matching tassel earrings to the pink. I thought that was genuinely a good outfit. Like, some of them are, like, kind of tacky, but I love it. But that one I thought was pretty good. I like the color coordination. So that's all I got for the fashion segment.
All right. Very good, then.
Phelan, overall, how do you think this episode stacks up?
Is probably one of their better ones. But like I said at the beginning, it'll depend. If they're writing Galvin out, then I don't like it.
It's sad if they're writing Galvin out. I'm really bummed about that, but I don't think that has to do with their story decisions so much as I think behind the scenes something happening. But I agree. I think it's one of their better episodes. I think, like, the plot flowed pretty good through most of it. The ending could have used a little less, like, this is the ending, no, this is the ending, no, this is the ending, like they usually do, but it didn't feel as crammed with things as they had been previously.
And it was about the sisters working together for the most part, which is nice.
Yeah, like, even when it involved separate plots, I felt like it still felt like it tied into the overall story, and they were still weaving in and out. It wasn't like Mel is just off on her own the whole time, Maggie's off on her own the whole time, and then Macy's carrying the story as usual.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, in the middle of something serious that Maggie goes, oh, I gotta go check on my tuition thing.
Yeah, that was just something that was happening in her life.
Yeah.
And tied into some, like, it weaved its way through it.
Exactly. Like, and that was the annoying thing about some earlier episodes, because that's exactly how it was in some early episodes. Like, oh, whatever, I gotta go check on the sorority.
Yeah, I think that it's smoothing things out a little bit, so we'll see how the next episode goes.
No, we won't.
Oh, okay. I'm afraid to say next week. Every time I say it, they're like, just kidding, there's another break happening.
Yeah, we'll see what happens after the break.
But for now, I think we'll be signing off here. Thanks to everyone for listening to Charmed Hard with a Vengeance. It'd be great if you could subscribe, or leave us a like, or a comment, or write about us on Twitter, hashtag the podcast police.
Hashtag Galvianda Jones.
Yeah, hashtag Galvin of Root Beer.
Galvin of Root Beer.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye. I gave a little wave. They'll know.
Yeah, that was a dumb wave.